Damn. Another week, another episode, bro.
You're getting closer to camera.
Yeah. In
Bloody
case,
close.
because people say they like our face, so
More intimate. Since we've been doing
Yes.
intimate sessions.
Yep.
But we should have guests soon.
yeah,
right?
soon.
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 Yeah. Have some stuff on the works as well? Oh yeah, you have to tell me about that later. Anyway.
A lot of stuff on the works.
A lot of stuff in the works, bro.
Oh yeah, on the works, in the works. Yeah. What did the wise man say, Jen? Take it
Yeah.
away.
Hey. Haven't adjusted my mic. Anyway,
How professional are these guys?
a wise man
Oh,
once said,
specifics.
planning is important, but the most important part of every plan is to plan on the plan not going according to plan.
That's a good one, man.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Anyways, what are we gonna yap about as the youngsters nowadays say
Oh,
today?
youngsters nowadays say things like skibidi toilet, bro.
Yeah, bro. Bidi.
Yeah. Today we're going to talk about something which crossed my mind recently because I worked with a younger individual
Uh-huh.
who became a couple.
Huh?
Who got into a relationship.
Oh, okay.
And when he was explaining to me or sharing with me the roles of the people in the relationship, I was a bit dumbfounded. Oh, big words today. Huh?
Okay.
Yeah. So
Wait, what's the dynamics of that relationship first?
what's the dynamics of this relationship? Okay, so it's a 20-year-old boy
Ah.
with a 25-year-old girl.
Oh.
Yeah. And the dynamics of this relationship is what I would call a modern relationship. Okay.
Okay.
So it's a modern relationship where the girl is a full-time working adult. The boy is entering NS.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just entering NS. So the dynamics now in this relationship is the girl or the lady, whatever lah. The female in the relationship is the one paying for dates, going out, and basically the girl is undertaking the role of a traditional man. That's how I would put it lah.
Okay.
And the guy is happy and comfortable being in a role of a traditional woman.
Huh.
Yeah. So that's how this topic came about. So today we're going to be talking about... What are we going to talk about?
Modern masculinity
Yes, exactly.
versus traditional masculinity.
Yes.
Ah.
So first things first. Are you a modern kind of guy or are you a traditional kind of guy?
I'm more of a
Hybrid.
hybrid.
Oh.
Traditional, more towards the traditional side lah. To be honest, like if I could, and when I could, I mean, I would like my partner to stop working. Then I'll just take on that whole role of the sole breadwinner
Ui.
and provide solely for the family.
So you're more towards the traditional side
I want,
to be
correct, but I'm working on it.
working on it lah. Okay, but ideally, you want to be towards a more traditional side lah.
Yes, because I think females and women, especially when they have kids, I feel that they should be the ones nurturing the kids at home when they can.
So they are like the homemaker
Yeah,
while you are out there making the bread.
making homes. Home builder, bro.
Okay. So, yeah, it
But
sounds wrong.
Bread maker.
Yes, breadwinner. Breadwinner.
Yeah.
So you go out there and hustle while your wife, your future wife, whoever, is at home making the house a home
Yes, correct.
and nurturing your kids.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. So with that being said, right, does that mean you have strong objections against the modern way of relationship?
I wouldn't say, like, in his context, I wouldn't say I have objections lah. Because a relationship will have two parties. Right? Two, right?
Yes. The traditional one lah, unless you're going a whole other timeline of polygamy
Yeah.
shit.
Polytechnic. Anyways, yeah. A relationship. See lah. I've been talking too much today. A relationship has two parties. And I think before you get serious about that relationship, I think you should set like grounds or like boundaries. And this is something that these two parties should talk about before they take things further. Like, okay, in 10, 15 years, for example, then I want you to stop working. Then I will be the one chasing the bread. Then you nurture the kids and bring them up. And if you want to earn a few bucks also, maybe we can set up something like a small business at home where you can do it and automate it at home. And you don't need to be there physically working for a boss telling you, okay, you have to reach office at this time. You have to do this by this week.
Right.
So things like that. Yeah, but that should be set early on in the relationship.
How early in the relationship do you think they should have this talk?
Like as soon as you go serious and you go get official, I think this should be one of the few things that you should talk about with your partner. Because you would have been dating for a while already. And then once you both agree to be serious, then these are one of the facets of life where you should be able to talk it out and get a plan. Like maybe now, okay, both still working, or what, the guy is in NS. Then maybe now, okay, then the lady has to step up and do most of the heavy lifting first. But he on his side should also be thinking of ways to lessen that load while he's working towards his career. But now he's bound by NS, so.
Sucks to be you, boy.
But yeah, I think they had that talk. That's why they are okay with it lah. If not, have that talk soon.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I agree with you on that point lah. The issue arises when they are both on different wavelengths. One is on the modern mindset, while one is on the traditional mindset.
Yeah.
For both parties lah. Like if the guy has a traditional mindset while the girl has a modern mindset, further down the road they are going to clash. Likewise, if the guy has a modern mindset while the girl has a traditional mindset, further down the road they are going to clash. Yeah. So it's hard lah.
Yeah.
For people who don't communicate. The moment you communicate is actually easy, right? You just have to find people with the same mindset as you and just blossom the relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, let's move on. Do societal expectations still pressure men to suppress emotions or avoid vulnerability in Singaporean culture? Or in just the Asian culture in general? I have something to say about this. I remember our old friend and mentor where he said, why are you getting a girlfriend when you still don't have anything to offer? Like, what do you have to offer? Yes, you can go with her, make her happy, then what? Are you able to provide? Yes, you can get her pregnant and stuff. But then after that, what? Is the kid gonna, I don't know, be living off your allowance? So that got me thinking as well. And another thing that I heard or read online is that, which I agree, men are not, how do I say this? Fuck. Okay, wait. we are mostly judged by what we can bring to the table
Yes.
and what we can provide, basically.
yes.
And we are not cared for our emotions
Mm-hmm.
because no one gives a shit and no one really does give a shit. So whatever you do, especially when you have a family, your emotions, your wants should always be the bottom of the priority list. Should be always the bottom priority, basically. And your wife and kids should always be first, then come your parents, then come you. Nobody cares if you feel shirked from work. Nobody cares if your boss shouted at you. As long as you bring the bread back home, you have fulfilled your duties as a man. Yeah. All those emotions that you may be feeling is negligible if you cannot fulfill your duties. And which I agree. And you just have to find a way to, I don't know, talk to a therapist or something.
Fair point.
Yeah. Which leads me to the modern age. Because that is the traditional thinking. And right now, a lot of guys are checking out from work. If they get screamed at, they just, okay. And if they get fired, they're like, okay, I'll just find another job.
Mm-hmm.
And they're checking out mentally. And they don't really care anymore. They get shouted at work from their bosses. They get shouted at home by their wife. They get screamed at by their kids. And they just like, as long as I put food on the table, the shelter on the top of their heads, all their basic necessities are met, then they'll be like, okay, I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Damn. That's tough.
Mm-hmm. And that is the cause of guys avoiding vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cause we try once to be vulnerable, try a few times, and then we realize that at the end of the day, they might feel sympathetic or empathetic to you guys. But then after a while, they don't really care.
Yep.
I feel no one really cares about your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the point?
Yeah.
Just do your job, do it right, be a nice person. That's it.
Tough life.
Tough life.
Yeah. I agree with you on that lah. Because and it's been proven in social media, right? Now that everyone's on social media, it's been proven time and time again lah. Guys who are vulnerable, not just around their partners, but around their friends, around their family. Eventually, it comes to a point where they will be seen in a different light. They will be seen with pity. They'll be seen with incompetence.
Yeah.
They'll be compared with the ones who just, like you say, like, keep their mouth shut and just keep going. You know? And that's not the light that anyone wants to be in, as a man, right?
Yeah.
So eventually, the ones who are vulnerable just gets backfired. It just comes back at them, right?
Yeah.
People use their vulnerability against them. And one, either they learn from their mistakes, or two, the people around them see and experience what was going on, and they themselves just shut down. So they prevent from sharing, from being vulnerable, from even being in that light.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
the modern society for men, men specifically, I mean, we are in no place to talk about the woman. So the modern way for relationships in men is very complicated. Because they may say one thing and they may mean another. Or people may accept them in the beginning, and with the same behavior over time, they will not be accepted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I always I always see it as the traditional mindset will always trump lah. Right? Which is why the successful ones generally are the ones with the traditional mindset. The successful ones are the ones who are out there making the bread, not seeing their family, not spending time with their family, which eventually leads to a divorce or something like that. But because they hustled so hard, they don't have time for anything else. They put their family first and their wife first and their job first, rather than their emotions, rather than their needs, like you said.
That's true.
Right? They don't mind getting scolded, yelled at, cursed at, spat on, shat on, thrown things at, beaten up or some shit like that. Yeah. They just go at it. Next day, wipe their face and go again.
Yeah. I think the worst part is, like you said, initially when we are younger, we still don't know the effects of being vulnerable.
Yes.
So when we try to be vulnerable, it backfires and we are just seen as incapable or weak. And that dignity of us at that point of life is just lost. And you are seen as incapable in other people's eyes.
That's
Hence,
true.
A lot of us are just putting a front, making sure the vulnerability isn't shown and the dignity isn't lost.
Yeah. And it's not just against like this mask that they put on or we put on or who the guys put on. It's not just a mask in front of their partners or their family. It's in front of everyone.
Yeah.
To a point where it's on their face all the time that they forget that they are even wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Right? So they are even trying to trick themselves to that extent.
That's true.
Yeah. Because even sharing with the boys for some of them can be difficult. Because the reality is even the boys will judge you. Right? The boys will be like, oh, if I can do it, why are you not doing it?
Yeah.
And the fact that you showed me your vulnerability means you're not half the man I am. You know? And they see them in a different light. They'll be like, oh, okay, this guy is not built the same as me. So this guy is just lesser of a man than me now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which may not be the case. Which may be the case. I don't know. You guys decide.
Moving on. How is media and social media, pop culture and whatever, shaping modern views of masculinity?
Wow. Okay, it's very vast. It's damn wide. Okay, because just me scrolling through social media, right? TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. I am bombarded with so many shit.
Yeah.
I'm bombarded with the traditional mindset. Mr. Andrew Tate. I'm bombarded with the modern mindset.
Who that?
Stay-home house husbands.
Oh.
I'm bombarded with polyamorous relationships. I'm bombarded with guys who think they are dogs, literally, or wolves or cats.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like, and all this plays an impact or a certain effect on how people view a modern relationship. Right?
Yeah.
Because all they have to do is they just go to the comments of that video and they see how many people hate it, how many people accept it, which one do I resonate with more. Right? Let's take Mr. AT for example. You go to their comments, you see the top few people who are supporting him, agreeing with him. You see the bottom few people who are disagreeing and hating on him. And then you see people backing up the hate or backing up the support. And you'll be like, oh, okay, so more people are inclined towards this. I'll go towards that side. Boom. Is that easy to persuade people with social media nowadays?
Yep.
Right? Especially with a huge following.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it plays a very big impact. Negative or positive, I don't know lah. It's a mix of both lah. Right?
Yeah.
Some might say it's a negative, some might say it's a positive. Mr. AT himself has a mix of both. Some people follow his mindset and became damn rich. Right? They are rich, they are well-to-do, they brought themselves out of poverty, they saved their family out of poverty and probably their next few generations as well, to that extent. At the same time, we have the ones who take it negatively, who became playboys, who became the type where they don't trust women anymore, or they treat women as a object and stuff like that. So it goes on to how they view it and how majority of the people choose to follow it.
That's true.
Yeah, but that's my take lah. What about you?
I think it's very extreme ends of the spectrum.
Exactly.
There's one again where, like Mr. AT.
Shut up.
And then there's the other side where it's more modern. I'm not as opposed to like modern masculinity. But I mean, then again, I think it's the balance that you can try and find. Like, have enough time to get the bread, for example, but also have enough time to spend with your family.
So work-life balance.
Correct. It's all about balance. And if the balance tips, usually it's a bad sign.
That's true.
Yeah. So I guess to me, life is always balancing. Whether is it your work, time with your wife, time with your kids, time with your family, time for yourself, most importantly. Because I don't know, time is a commodity that is slowly wasting away as we breathe.
Same.
Almost.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think social media is depicting something that is too extreme, and it really depends on how the people perceive it and understand it. And then, be it good or bad, how they act or how they implement it in their life or in their lives really comes to the character of the person. Is he able to understand what the real message is, or is he just taking it at a surface level and actually doing things that these people say to the most literal sense?
Like some people that we know. It's why they say
But
don't believe everything you see on social media.
That's why.
Some is a good, some is a bad.
Okay. Moving on to our last pointer for the day.
Yes, shoot me, boy.
Can challenging traditional masculinity help reduce toxic behavior, or does it risk alienating men who identify with it?
What?
Oh, this is deep ass question.
Yeah, okay. So, with regards to toxic behavior, I personally, don't at me for all this shit that I say. This is a warning before I carry on. I personally believe that there is no such thing as toxic behavior. Okay, wait. Let me continue before you all say anything. Let me just continue. With the right person, right? So it goes back to what you said earlier. Finding people with the same mindset as you. Now,
Right.
if we were to sit down, for example, I mean, we do share, but if we sit down and speak about your relationship dynamics with your partner and my relationship dynamics with my partner, you may see the habits that me and my partner have. You may classify it as toxic, even though it's a similar mindset that we share and it works well for our dynamic.
Yeah.
Likewise, when you share with us your dynamic, I may sit here and think, whoa, that's very toxic. That's quite toxic. Oh shit, But because you guys are so like-minded, or you guys have the same mindset, the same goals, your 10 to 15 year goal and stuff like that, it works well for the both of you. Right? So the point where it becomes toxic, the point where it actually becomes toxic is when both of y'all don't have the same mindset.
Yeah.
And both of your mindsets start to shift the opposite directions. Right? So let's take, for example, this couple. they used to have a good mindset. They used to have similar mindset, not good mindset. A similar mindset, and whatever they worked used to be gelling well with each other. But along the way, one of their mindset shifted, while the other party's mindset was still the same. So even though they're doing the same thing, now the guy whose mindset shifted sees it as a toxic behavior.
That's true.
Yeah. So my question to them will be, was it truly toxic to begin with, or is it just you guys are no longer compatible?
Yeah.
Right? Because I've seen, okay, let's just take the standard stereotypical toxic behaviors that people say lah, right? Let's say controlling, right? Oh, my partner is very controlling and stuff like that. But I've seen people or couples in a relationship where they are both, one is equally as submissive as the other one is as dominating, for example, right? And he or she is fine being controlled, while the other person is fine being controlling. And because of that, they gel well. And there's no sign of like toxicity between the two of them. But because we, from the outside point of view, generally just see controlling behavior as something toxic because it's not something that would gel well with us. Yeah. And it's the same lah. It's the same for all the other behaviors or that we generally call toxic. Like anything can be called toxic, you know?
That's true.
Right? Like I know people who likes to share their location with their partner 24/7.
Oh.
Right? Yeah, you see? So to you it might seem like, oh, maybe that's kind of weird. That's toxic, maybe, you know? But to them it's like, oh, it works well for both of us because we don't even have to ask each other like, where are you? Or are you going to school? Are you on the way to school? And stuff like that. I don't even have to ask you, you know? I just see like, oh, okay, she's safe, he's safe. They're on the way somewhere. He's out, he's still out, and all that stuff. And if it works well for the both of them, it works lah.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
So alienating them, that's some 80 shit lah, right? I would say that's some 80 shit, right? So when you try to alienate something is people forcing their belief that one thing is toxic. Right? So like how I just discussed about toxic behavior being fine for someone else, but because we deem it as toxic, now we are trying to portray or push the whole crowd or the whole social media to accept that is toxic. And whoever is at the corner there living in their own bubble, gelling well with that toxicity is now deemed as the toxic couple. Yeah. Which is actually happening. Right? It's actually happening because I encounter a lot of couples, whether it's within my friend group, whether it's within my family, whether it's within the people I liaise with in my daily life. I see couples of all dynamics, and it's either they work well or they don't.
Right.
And the toxicity only comes when they don't. Yeah. So that's something you guys should think about.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you?
I think there has to be a balance again.
Always.
And of course, there has to be agreement between the couple. So we're using the couple as an example.
Yeah.
Toxic behavior depends whether it's hurting the other party or not.
Yes.
If it's not toxic. And if you are looking at it as a third person, then you have no right to say that it's toxic. Because
Agreed.
Firstly, it's not your dynamics, it's theirs.
Agree.
And if they are happy doing that, then by all means. Okay? But does it risk alienating men by challenging traditional masculinity? Does it risk alienating? No lah. The traditional men will look at you and laugh at your face, say, haha, okay bro, fuck you.
Yeah,
and just walk away. You think they'll feel alienated? No, I don't.
I think you need to try harder to alienate them, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are traditional for a reason lah.
Yeah. And if you think it's toxic, okay, good, keep it to yourself. But I know nowadays social media is making it very easy to share your thoughts and hiding behind that keyboard,
Exactly.
behind that screen, and just scrolling through, commenting. But as long as they're happy, I'm okay, man.
Yeah.
I might have that because we're so influenced by social media. Your first thought might be, but then you sit down and reflect and you're like, oh, actually, look at them. They're happier than me.
Yep.
Then that's where you sit down and reflect on your life. But usually if they're happy, go with it, man.
It's like how one of our past guest hosts said, right? He said something that is still in my head sometimes, lah.
Damn.
Right?
Okay.
Is Mr. Rufus.
Oh.
Hello there. So Mr. Rufus said that when people share something that they don't agree or the crowd doesn't agree, it's actually us putting up a sign saying that this is our thoughts and this is our belief. If you agree with it, you can stick around with us. If you don't agree with it, stay away. Go and find your own bubble or people with signs that you believe in.
Yeah.
But the generation and the society that we live in nowadays, they do not just walk away. They rather throw sticks and stones at you. They rather be a keyboard warrior and talk shit about your belief.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't affect them at any way.
Just because they have freedom of speech.
Exactly. And that's the sad world that we live in.
Well, I'm just waiting for freedom of speech to be taken away. Then we'll also be taken away.
Take it away.
Anyways, to end off this masculine episode of us just ranting and yapping. Zach, what did the wise man say?
A wise man once said, if you're not invited, don't go. If they don't tell you, don't ask. If they invite you last minute, decline. Because you were not the plan right from the start. So you got to know your worth, boys and girls and everyone in between.
Till next week.
Till next week.
Ciao.